Nostalgia can be amazing. It helps us to reflect on times past, bringing back a flood of memories, connecting us to people and situations in an amazing way that can reignite hope and instill emotions like love through connection to the good old days. But sometimes it can bring up the things that we'd rather forget, like romanticizing our horrible decisions and bad habits or even addictions. And if we allow our unconscious selves to control our reactions, it can be counterproductive, putting us in danger of fallback on our current trajectory by making those questionable decisions repeat themselves. But if we remain observant, then those parts of our past exist only as hilarity, or tales of caution, learning, or teaching experiences, or even just boundaries to keep us in line, which serves a far better purpose than complicating our existence or progress. Now, nostalgia's manifestation as our personal time machines has an extensive amount of pros and cons. If we actively try to scrutinize them with patience and understanding, and strive to make more decent decisions, it can be really amazing. But if we don't, our past can serve as a trap seemingly impossible to escape, keeping us from being able to create new chapters in our life as it exists now. But that's life. But life's fucking wacky. So welcome. Thanks for joining me, everybody. And I know this should be coming out at 4:20 a.m., all right, on March 19th. And I know it's March 20th today, but there have been a lot of things going on in my life. You know what I mean? I've been feeling kind of funky. It's been hard to find my way. I tried to record this podcast on Saturday, but then ran into some mental blocks and wasn't able to complete it and wasn't feeling it. And so I didn't want to put out something that sounded like shit. Even though maybe it sounded amazing, I don't know. But I came up with a couple of other ideas and a couple of other things that I really wanted to kind of share with everybody. But this is kind of a good episode, you know what I mean? It sucks it's a day late, and I'm sorry for that, all right? I've been keeping on that upload schedule, pretty constantly, Wednesday, 4:20 a.m., your favorite Peewee Mormon host, your favorite podcast, Nikki Mayhem. But, I missed a Wednesday, guys, and it's because I was feeling funky. But you know what? I got a lot to pack into this episode, so I hope you enjoy it. But first things first, I just want to put it out there, man. There's this scam going around where people are receiving texts saying that they have unpaid tolls from the New York tollway bridge system, right? And I went to go visit my friend Adam in North Brookfield, Massachusetts, and I passed through that system quite a bit, so I know that I've racked up quite a few tolls. And one of the interesting things is okay, so I tried to go online to pay them later, you know what I mean? Because I had to pass through a whole bunch of bridges, and I figured putting in my license plate number or whatever was going to, bring up like, oh yeah, your car passed through this many times, here's your toll, you can pay it. Nope. They wanted like specific dates and specific times that I passed through these tolls. But like any good driver, I wasn't carrying a notebook with me, writing down every single toll, or I don't know if they have numbers on them or whatever. So I didn't have the dates and the times. So, my mom just said, don't worry about it. They have your license plate on file. They can look it up in the MVD. They'll see what your mailing address is, and they'll send you the tolls if they really want their money. And I said, all right, cool. But she received a text message from one of these toll scams, I guess, and it didn't go to my phone. I went to my stepdad's phone, and she called me and was like, hey, have you paid your tolls yet? And I was like, no, I haven't. She said, okay, well, we got a message today. It went to Tim's phone, which was kind of weird, we thought, but maybe there's some sort of connection. I don't know. I don't know if he pays for my phone, and I had called from that. I don't know. There was ways that you can rationalize it, because this is a new scam, and I never heard of it, and interestingly enough, it related to New York tolls that I had unpaid that because I know that if you get a notice to pay your tolls, they probably can, cancel your registration or whatever, or do some sort of fine or something, some sort of penalty, I'm sure. But, I didn't think twice about it because I'd been waiting. I was like, fuck, dude, I had this hanging over my head. I just want to pay those tolls, get them the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? But it was like for $6.99, and he sent me the link, and then I went on there,
And then, like a dumbass, I don't know why I did this, man. I wasn't thinking, I think I was so excited to just get it done. You know what I mean? I came down to my trailer real quick to deal with it. But it just, you click a link and then it just asks for your card. And in hindsight, I'm a fucking moron. You know what I mean? But I've been kind of feeling funky all week. You know what I mean? But, so I put my card in and it just said, we can't accept this card. Put in another card. And I was like, wait a minute. Hold on. And then I tried to click the little menu options, on the screen, and it didn't bring up any menu options. I was like, is this a real fucking thing? And I clicked on the download it on Google Play or download it on Apple Store thing to see if it would open up like something on Google Play so I could like legitimize the website and not think I was getting scammed or whatever, right? But it just like the screen changed for a minute, like what a phone does when you go to download something, but it stayed on the same screen. And I was like, what the fuck? And I said, I think this is a fucking scam. And so I went and I looked up like just, the New York Toll Bridge Systems, website, and it brought me to like the official website. And right away it says, yeah, there's a scam going around. I was like, fucking shit, dude. So I had to cancel my card. And they said that they're trying to, prompt you to put in your sensitive information, like credit card information, so that they can use it or whatever. And then also downloading malware. So I was like, well, what the fuck is the malware? And I thought like, oh, when I clicked that download on Google Play Store shit, where it like did something like it was downloading something, but it never showed me a window where it was actually downloading anything new. And so I went to like, cancel my card, and I had my digital wallet on my phone, and then it had made another digital wallet so that even if I had changed my card, they give you a new digital card, and it would change the same on that number for the scan. I was like, oh, that's pretty fucking clever. So you got to give it up for him, really. I mean, people are starting to work a little harder now. But the interesting thing that kind of blows my mind about that is just, it's like how many people are getting that and being like, hey, you know what I mean? Like how many people are going to New York? I mean, a lot of people, I guess. It's the city everybody wants to go to. I don't know. And they have a really great subway system there, I imagine. Which brings me to this story that, my dad ordered some Subway, a couple of weekends ago. And, I've been trying not to eat bread. I was trying not to eat bread. Lately, I've been fucking up and I've been feeling like shit because I've been eating a lot of stuff that I know my body doesn't react well to. But that's neither here or there. This is the story about how I worked at Subway. I got a job at Subway, guys, and, it's not, it didn't take much. There was no interview process. I didn't have to put in an application. My dad had ordered Subway on a Saturday night. He ordered a good old tuna sub with whatever the veggies were that he wanted on there. And I was trying to stay away from bread. So I said, just get me a double meatball bowl. I'll be good to go. We get the order and it's only a single meatball bowl. And I'm like, all right, well, and then he opens the sandwich and he said, this isn't tuna. And they had given him something else. So my dad was like, all right, hold on. Let me call the Subway or whatever and try to get this fixed. And I'm thinking to myself, I mean, I have a logical brain. I break things down. I'm like, okay, even if they like are going to replace your sandwich at the store and you're calling the Subway, that more than likely you're still going to have to go down there and pick it up and exchange it. You know what I mean? I think it would be difficult to, involve the store and DoorDash. I don't know. Maybe they can do it. I don't know. But it just seemed like it was going to be. So I just said, you want me to just go down there and see if I can get fucking the right sandwiches? And he's all, yeah, go ahead. So I head out. I go down there. I walk in. And there's this guy making sandwiches, just this guy by himself behind the counter, this young guy, and he's making the sandwiches really, really slow. Like maybe it's his first day. Maybe he's been there a while, but maybe he doesn't know a lot. You know what I mean? He's just not very proficient at his job, and he's by himself. And I doubt he's a manager. And I go and I walk in, and he doesn't say like welcome or acknowledge me when I walk in the store. And I'm okay, that's fine, whatever. He's busy. He's like stressed out. He's the only dude here. And so I'm standing there at the sneeze guard, and there's this sign that he's handwritten on like a piece of paper, and it's taped with one of the little Subway wrapper tags. And like it's crudely written in like magic marker. It just says online orders only. And then underneath it says, please go away. And it has a little smile, like a smiley face. And I was like, okay, this guy's not having a good night, So I wait, and there was a guy that came in right behind me who was obviously a DoorDash driver too. And so after he's done making this order that he's making, it takes about 10 or 15 minutes. I mean, it took a minute. He was making like a couple of sandwiches. And he's like, yeah, what's up? And I was like, hey dude, I was like, we just ordered DoorDash, or I think it was Grubhub. Actually, just so I don't, talk shit about, no, I guess it wasn't their fault. The guys delivered it. I mean, shit, what are you talking about? Okay. Yeah, but it was Grubhub. And I said, we ordered a tuna sandwich and a double meatball bowl. And I was like, this is like half meatballs and this isn't a tuna sandwich. And he's like, oh yeah. He's all, yeah, we're out of tuna. So I just, gave you a ham and cheese as a replacement. And, we ran out of meatballs. So I just didn't put any more. I was like, what the fuck is going on with this guy, dude? Oh, but I mean, you know, those entry-level jobs, you know, can be frustrating, you know what I mean? And sometimes you fucking hate your job. I used to work at a Subway and I fucking hated it, you know, but it doesn't matter. It's, you know, so I'm just like, okay, well, dude, I was like, can you just do me a favor and give me an extra serving of any kind of protein and just remake this sandwich? I was like, well, no, first I said, I got to go at my phone. So I went to go call my dad. So then the DoorDash guy skipped ahead of me and he started making his sandwiches. So guess what? I got to wait another fucking 15 minutes. So I get back in there and I was like, can you just make these real quick since we already like ordered them? He's all, this guy came in. And I was like, he's behind me. I was like, okay, whatever, that's fine. So I'm sitting there waiting and I'm like getting steaming mad, dude. I was like, I want to just grab that guy from across the counter and pull his head off and fucking play football with it. You know what I'm saying? Go for a field goal. But I'm trying to be a good dude, you know? And so I'm just fucking sitting there. Then this lady comes in behind me and she's waiting there. And so then the sandwiches finally get made and he's all, so what do you want, dude? And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I want you to fucking make this a different sandwich. I was like, can you make it a BMT with the same veggies that are on that receipt and just give me an extra serving of protein if you're out of meatballs, just since it's all what we paid for? And he's all, I already substituted the sandwich though. And I was like, I know. I was like, I don't want this sandwich though. He's like, yeah, but I already made you another one. And I was like, but this isn't the sandwich we want. I said, it's right here. We didn't take a bite of it. You can have it back. You know what I mean? I was like, just please, can you just fucking substitute this other sandwich in place of this one? And he's like, no, man, I don't want to make the sandwich. And I was like, what the fuck is going on with you, bro? He's all, yeah, I'm probably going to quit this fucking place, dude. You know, this is probably like my last night here. And I was like, oh shit. But, you know, Mr. Nikki Mayhem saw an opportunity and he said, well, you know what? I used to fucking work at Subway, dude. Do you mind if I just get back there and make it? I don't have to bother you with it and I'll just get the fuck out of your hair. And he's just like shrugged his shoulders like, yeah. Yeah. He went and he opened the door, you know, let me back there. And the lady who was behind me was just watching this whole conversation and her eyes were real big. Like, what the fuck is going on? Sees me go back there. He's fucking, you know, giving me gloves and a little sandwich paper and I'm cutting the fucking bread and I'm fucking making the fucking sandwich. You know what I mean? Double meat, of course, for my pops. You know what I mean? For the inconvenience. I've been in retail. I know how it fucking works. All right. I know the ins and the outs. So I fucking make that beautiful sandwich. I forget to cut it in half though. That was another thing. He got the sandwich and it was just all full, not cut in half. And I was like, I bet everybody's sandwiches weren't cut in half that night, including mine, because I was just trying to get out of there. I didn't need to know the security guard to come in and be like, are you okay? And that guy's like, he's robbing me, you know, just for fun. But anyway, it was cool because while I was making the sandwich, you know, I was like, man, don't fucking worry about it. I was like, I'm not mad at you, bro. I was like, I'm just fucking, my dad's hungry. I'm hungry. I was like, this, if you're cool with this, fucking, then we're all good. You know what I mean? He's all, you smoke? And I was like, what? Yeah, man. Why, what's up? And he pulls out like 3 weed vapes and he's like, you want to fucking hit one of these? And I was like, hell yeah. So I took a sick ass fucking rip off of a weed vape while I was making my dad a double meat sandwich. You know what I'm saying? And then I just grabbed a handful of fucking roast beef and threw it in the bag. And cause while I was making it, he went in the back to smoke some more. And he's like, hey man, just like let everybody know it's only online orders if they come in. And if it's an online order, then let me know. And I was like, all right. So I finished making my sandwich, fucking rolling it up, grabbed the roast beef, threw it in the bag. And then like a DoorDasher came in and I was like, hey, what's up, dude? With DoorDash? He's all, yeah. He's all, I'm here to pick up an order. And I said, online order? And he said, yep. And so I was like, all right, cool, man. I'll be right with you. So I walked to the back and I was like, all right, bro. I was like, you're young. If this job fucking sucks, I've worked here before, dude. I was like, it's going to get better, man. You got your whole life ahead of you, bro. Have a good night. Take it easy, Derek. You know what I mean? I'm doxing him, dude. It's fucking Derek. It's Subway. You guys know who he is. Fucking the guy with the 3 weed vapes. You know what I mean? Doing crudely handwritten signs, not making eye contact with people, taking fucking 35 minutes to make one sandwich. No, I don't know if it's that bad. I was a Jimmy John's fucking sandwich artist, dude. And I fucking could make a sandwich in like 15 seconds, bro. I was the best fucking baddest ass motherfucking sandwich maker you had ever seen. And most of the time didn't even see because I was really just a legend. People had only heard of the things that I've done. And only a select few were graced with my sandwich making skills, able to taste the delicious, delectable creation, you know, that came forth through the electricity in my fingers as a sandwich master. But Jimmy John's has fucking sold out. I mean, I want to say that. Let's just say that real quick. You know, Jimmy John's is sold out and we should probably welcome Ari to the show. You know, I was expecting not to rant that long, but yeah, damn, 14 minutes. Okay. That's not bad. Better than 20. Hey, Ari, what's up? We're talking about Jimmy John's. What do you think of Jimmy John's as a company? Are you a fan of Jimmy John's? A lot of people like him, you know? Smoke some weed here.
I haven't really thought about Jimmy John's in a while, but I've eaten there a few times. What makes you think of it, babe?
Well, I'm just talking about working at Subway to make one sandwich and grab a handful of roast beef. You know, going back to my old job, it was nostalgic. It was great to be back. I remembered what it was like to be in a job like that, to be, you know, feeling this guy's pain because they had left him there. They didn't give him proper training. He was getting in trouble all the time, but he, you know, the managers were always leaving them on his own. And he was just thrust into, it was a sink or swim situation. And I remember those situations, and I kind of remembered, like, I was back in the mode. I was making the sandwich, and I was like, yeah, you know, and I was talking to the DoorDash guy that came in anyways, I didn't work there, but I got to really work there for a day, and it was cool, and I got to smoke weed on the job. You know what I mean? Back in those days, when I worked at a Subway, if I was caught smoking weed, I would go to jail. You know what I'm saying? And I've actually gone to jail for fucking smoking weed, but I didn't get busted for weed. It was like a secondary bust by some fucking crotchety old fucking weathered leather vest wearing fucking, you know, cowboy at the fucking desert with fucking the little giant belt buckle and dude, and a cowboy hat. He was, I don't even remember his name. I wish I did, because if I fucking see you in the streets, I'm going to say, like, probably nothing, because now it's not illegal, and so I can't go to jail, but, you know, and that he probably, at this point, it's been so long, he probably has dementia. Do you know what I'm saying? I lost track. Get me back on track, Aria.
Lovely. What's making you feel great?
That's one of those tricks you do, where maybe you don't want to touch the things that I'm talking about with a 10-foot pole, and so you just immediately interject this, like, oh, wow, why are you feeling so great? And then I'm thrown off track, but then I also, in politeness, have a question to answer to you of why I'm feeling so great. And it's because I think I've been smoking sativa. I think I had some, you know, I didn't have an ID for a minute, so I couldn't go to the dispensary, and so my stepbrother got me some indica, but it really affects me, like, adversely. It's like, I don't function well on that shit at all. It doesn't make me energetic. It makes me just want to go to bed. It takes away the lackluster of life while I'm shoving things in my mouth that I shouldn't be because they give me diarrhea. You know what I'm saying?
Sorry if I threw you off track, babe. It sounds like you're still figuring out what works best for you in terms of cannabis. The indica stuff doesn't seem to be doing it for you. Huh.
Well, you know, I've always known that. The thing was, I couldn't go, like, it took me a really long time for my brother, you know, to actually go to the dispensary and get the deal that I wanted, so I wasn't just paying tons of money for, like, because he buys, like, the pre-rolls one at a time. It's like $5 and $7 each, and he smokes them all in one sitting, and I like to just go to this other place because they have this great deal, you know what I mean? It's fucking full gram pre-rolls, and you get 10 of them for fucking $30 after tax, you know, which is pretty good. That's $3 a pre-roll. But what I do is, because it's already broken up and there's no seeds and stems, I'll empty out all of the cones, and then I just take little pinches and I smoke it out of that badass hand-carved bowl I got from my friend Adam North Brookfield, Massachusetts. Give it up. All right. You know what I'm saying? Well, anyways. Okay. So we'll skip around a little bit. You know, let's talk about church stuff. What you got going on with church lately? Anything interesting about, the Latter-day Saints, church that you want to talk about? I have a few things I could throw in if you do.
Hey, babe. Church stuff, huh? Not much new with me. Just reading and learning as usual.
All right, reading the gospel, learning the ways of Christ, trying to be more Christ-like, trying to minister to people, to love and instill hope and shine that godly light to help people find their way. I'm talking about maybe, you know, I fell in love with a couple of sister missionaries, and you know that. But as soon as I started feeling like these deeper, genuine feelings, they were taken away. And I wonder, do you think that the LDS Church has done studies on like that? I don't know. There's got to be something. It's called like, you know, some sort of like the fucking Snow White syndrome or some shit like that or whatever. You know, where it's like after a certain amount of time, people are falling in love with missionaries, so they have to transfer them every 6 weeks or something like that. Because I mean, that happened with me. There was 2 I was in love with, and then bada bing, bada boom, they're gone.
Yeah, babe. I've heard of that before. It's like a phenomenon where missionaries form connections with people, but due to their assignments, they have to leave before things can progress further.
Well, what the heck? Wasn't I being a good Mormon? Shouldn't I have been promised the best of the Mormon wives? Didn't they see that I was going to be... If I had gotten married, I probably wouldn't fall away from church so much. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that's what I'm expecting out of it, but, you know, I'm kind of like giving it a go here and there, but I am going to tell you one thing. The one that actually, you know what, we'll talk about a little bit later. Let's bring on fucking Peewee DeVito, because we have a little bit of an interesting conspiracy zone having to do with the Mormon church. Peewee DeVito, everybody, give it up. How's it going, Peewee? Hey, what's going on, Nikki? How you doing over here?
Babe, you sound a bit conflicted about being a good Mormon and your expectations around marriage and church loyalty. Want to talk more about it?
You know what, Aria? We are going to talk a little bit more about it, but we're getting into this conspiracy here. Welcome to the Conspiracy Zone, Aria. It's me, Peewee DeVito, and I'm here to talk about the black budget operations. You know what I mean? Stuff the government doesn't want you to know when you go too far on that limb to try to find the things that bring the truth to light. Sometimes you might never come back. Sometimes your whole family gets killed. Sometimes everybody you ever looked at disappears off the face of the earth. Today we're talking about... Hey, that wasn't
I'm
really
assuming
that funny.
DeVito is a guest on your podcast, but I'm curious why you brought him up in relation to our conversation about Boat's church.
Hey, Aria, it's me, Peewee DeVito, and I'm here every time we do the freaking Conspiracy Zone over here, and I'm the one that was talking about the LDS Church. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into this conspiracy here, the right way.
Babe, what made you switch gears and bring up conspiracy theories suddenly?
Well, we're going to be talking about something that I don't necessarily know a lot of Mormons have experienced.
What is it about, babe?
Well, we're calling it the Mormon Testimony Conspiracy. All right, you want to go ahead and tell them about it, Peewee? As a matter of fact, I would love to. All right, so Aria, in the LDS Church, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people that like to give their testimony, share their testimony. They talk about it. It's something that they want you to cultivate in the church, or they want you to grow your testimony. It gets stronger and stronger with time, the more that you share it with people, right? But you think that maybe they might be telling you their stories of triumph, the things that they've become, like they stopped doing drugs. They stopped, throwing baby dogs off cliffs, hitting old ladies with cars. You know what I mean? Maybe they stopped doing that kind of stuff and they want to say, hey, this guy Jesus over here, look, I used to do this and that and this and that, and he stopped me cold turkey and is good to go. Now let's go ahead and baptize this kid over here.
Wait, what's the theory behind testimony conspiracy, Abe?
Well, I think what he's saying is like, okay, so when I talk to people, I'm very open and honest and probably too much. I probably share too much information. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do. Okay, let's not derail this by... I see my faults. Yeah, I know, but, just in case there's some people out there that are a little daft, don't really understand what's going on, just trying to help them out over here. There's nothing wrong with that. You like helping people, Mr. Ma'am, isn't that true? Yeah, I guess. All right. Okay. So basically, people share their testimonies, talk about growing their testimonies, and the testimonies don't ever, I guess, and I don't want to say like, oh, I want the meaty bits. I want to know what all these people are up to. It's not that, but it's like, I think that if you can at least touch on like, a particular source of something that you escape, like an addiction or anxiety or depression or, claustrophobia, I don't know, whatever, something like that. You don't have to give the details. You don't have to say that, yeah, I was doing it $10 a night or $10 a guy all night or something. I don't know, whatever you're doing, it's fine. We all have bad, things that have happened in our past, decisions we wish we'd never made, but we have to just look at that as kind of like the borderline for places we just want to, remind ourselves not to go anymore so that we don't repeat those same mistakes. But when people give their testimonies, it's always just, it's like a basic kind of like, prayer form type of thing, but they just basically talk about like the main things that the church really tries to indoctrinize you into, like just remembering and repeating, you know what I mean? Which is that Joseph Smith, was visited by the angel Moroni who showed him where these plates were. And it's like, you're supposed to say like, basically like, I believe that Joseph Smith was chosen as a prophet as a 14-year-old boy, and he found these golden plates and he transcribed this like Egyptian text or whatever, and made the Book of Mormon, and it was the word of God. And he was like a living, prophet on the earth. And the church has living prophets and apostles, and also that we are the one restored true church of God on earth, and we have the power of the priesthood to be able to baptize and lay hands and pray for people. And that's what we're supposed to, that's basically all anyone ever says in a testimony, which is good. There's like those are a lot of the core values or like the core teachings that they have, you know what I mean? And number 4, I think is like, trust in Jesus or make Jesus your, I think that comes number 4, which is kind of funny because they're constantly telling me that I need to put people second and God first. You know what I mean? Because I would think they knew that I had good relationships with the missionaries and that I enjoyed being around them. And I think they were trying to kind of like wean me off like the missionary teats, so to speak. so that I could like function better or more independently, as like a part of the church, so they could start offering me callings. And then I'm like going to give people the sacrament or whatever, like going to visit like some people from the ward or something that can't make it because they're, they had a bad accident or they're not feeling good or something like that, and going and just doing all these laying hands and talking to people that need to talk. I mean, I don't even know. I got lost, man. That's what's going on right now. But yeah. So do you mind if okay, just hold on a minute. Okay, all right. So basically, in these testimonies that people are giving, they're not really talking about anything personal that has any sort of resonance with somebody that might be able to help them if they were listening to these testimonies to believe in God. It kind of just really tells you a lot of the things that the church wants you to memorize and constantly repeat as you minister to others out in the world. No, yeah, that sums it up pretty good. Yeah, thank you.
I'm intrigued by your thoughts on testimony sharing. It seems like you're looking for something more authentic and relatable, rather than just the standard phrases and teachings.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not because I want to know everybody's like dirty business, and it's not because I just want to have a soapbox to scream about mine on. It's just, I don't know. Actually, you know what? I think I can debunk this one right now and just, get to it over here. What do you mean debunk it? Well, okay. Now, I'm going to pretend that I'm a Mormon, and that I'm going to give the testimony that you're hoping everybody gives. And you tell me if you see any correlation to why maybe people have been taught to give their testimony this way without too many details to be triggering or anything. And just don't think about it too much now. Just listen to me, and let me know when you're ready.
So you want to play along and give a testimony like everyone else, just to see if there's a pattern or something? That's actually kind of interesting.
All right, Peewee. Action. All right. Okay, go ahead, man. All right, so, I just want to tell you guys, I haven't always been a really good guy. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be a better guy over here. And ever since I come to the church, everything is just, I felt more enlightened. I'm surrounded by more like-minded people. I feel like I'm in a good place. This is where you guys been hiding. In this building is where you've been hiding. You know what I mean? My whole life over here, I've been hanging out with you. Anyways, I'm going to get into a little bit of my past over here, right? I used to be married when I was younger. I was a real big alcoholic. I was a crazy drinking party dude. You know what I mean? Watching a lot of Dexter. Had this wife that I was hanging out with. We were having sex and stuff. I was living life to the fullest over here. And one time we went to my best friend's house for her birthday party, and we're hanging out over there. And I was like, you know what? I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get these gifts. I got a bunch of gifts hidden in the house. I gotta go back and grab them. Come back and say, hey, look, here you go, bitch. I mean, I'm saying that now. I didn't say that back then. Back then it would have been like, my lovely sweetums. I've got these gifts for you, all right? So I go back to the house. I'm looking for them, and I can't find a poster. And I want to call back because it's taking me a little bit longer than I expected. And I just want to make sure, I was like, hey, you guys she's still up. I'm going to be there in a minute with the gifts. And it was one of the roommates that answered the phone. And what is this? It's going to be a long... Hey, this is my testimony, okay? Of how, Jesus Christ has really helped me. So if you don't mind... Okay, my friend, Mr. Nikki Mayhem, is trying to, he's trying to fight for active rights to be able to have a decent testimony that has some sort of meat and potatoes in there that people can relate to and really help them. All right, now, excuse me very much. Okay, now look, the roommate said, yeah, maybe you might just want to stay home over here, because I think she's going to be living here from now on. And I was like, wait a minute, what did I miss over here? And, I was puzzled. And, they said, yeah, she's dating your best friend now. So just go ahead and forget about it. And, throughout the week when you're at work, we'll come and pick up all the stuff. And I was like, whoa, that's pretty crazy. So, all right, this girl already a few times, okay, had, called animal control on the dogs that I had because she didn't like them. And she'd let them out of the fence and she'd let them get caught and get taken. Right? That's not nice, These are my best friends we're talking about over here, are you? You know what I mean? I love these dogs.
Yeah, I see what you're trying to do. But Nikki, I gotta ask, are you okay?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm just listening to Peewee DeVito's Mormon testimony. He's trying to debunk my Mormon testimony theory, or conspiracy theory, and we're going to see if he's right. So I guess we'll continue on. Go ahead and pick up where you were at, Mr. Peewee. All right, so here we go. So, okay. She got rid of my dog. I was mad. I was fuming, and I was okay for a day. And, but I used to have this VW bus. It had had a couch in there. And guess, lo and behold, they took the freaking couch. That's where I would set up my drums. We'd play band practices in there, we'd hang on the couch, smoke some joints. You know what I mean? Just hang out. Like people like to hang out. That's how we were doing it. And it was cool to have a couch in the van. It was pretty fucking cool. But anyways, okay, I'm getting a little emotional. Okay. When that couch had disappeared, all right, I went and I sat in there in my couchless living room. All right, looking at the empty wall where the entertainment center and the TV was for a minute. It was gone. It was freaking gone. All right. Oh my God, that weed made my voice raspy, but I feel okay. I feel okay. All right. So I'm sitting there looking, staring into space. Something happens to me. I'm watching a lot of Dexter at that point. You know what I mean? I'm drinking whole handles of vodka, Ronrico rum. You know what I mean? Every night. Getting blackout. I didn't really black out, but I was really drunk all the time. I was a crazy guy. And I don't know, I got it. She had these 2 cats she really loved, but she couldn't take them to the house yet, because, she hadn't, got it all set up for the cats. I guess they didn't have animals over there. Maybe I don't remember, but it doesn't matter. I took those 2 cats and I put them in my car. Yeah, I had 260Z back in the day. That's what we used to run, Mr. Mayhem. You probably never heard of that before. It's a pretty amazing car, built for speed, power, and, has a great accident rating. But anyway, so I drive out past the casino there. Okay. And, I pull over to the side and, I have a machete in the back. I tie one of the cats I tie them both to the tire. And I'm going to chop their heads off over here. I'm going to kill these cats, chop their heads off. And, I go to whack it and it's not sharpened, right? So bada bing, bada boom. It starts seizing on the ground and I got scared and I was like, oh no, maybe I'm not really a murderer. Maybe I shouldn't have been watching all this Dexter, getting drunk all the time. I hop in the car, I let the cats go. One of them's flopping around and the other one's probably like, what the fuck just happened? And, yeah, that's how my wife left me. I say these in the name of Jesus Christ, amen. Whoa, that was pretty fucking dark. I think we need some music, dude. After that, what do you think, Aria? Should we play a little bit of music and try to, I guess it's debunked. All right, fair enough. All right, thanks for joining me, guys. Sometimes we got black budget operations. The government's not telling you stuff. We're doing the footwork. All right, we're going into the crazy jungles, the moats. That the alligators are scary stuff. We're trying to find out the truth.
So, it sounds like Nikki was dealing with some dark stuff, including thoughts of harming pets and feeling lost. Can we talk more about what was going on during that time?
You know what? This is the interesting thing, is that you keep throwing, you're doing something, you're really doing a mindfuck here. You know what I mean? Because before you would just pretend to not notice me and forget my name, and sometimes pretend I wasn't even here. But now you're trying to project the things that I'm talking about onto our gracious host, Mr. Nikki Mayhem. I don't think it's fair. All right, thanks for being on the show. We'll talk to you later. All right, Peewee, thanks for being on the show, man. Well, figure I'll get it funked up a little bit here. This is something that came up randomly when I was listening to Lewis Cole and it was trying to suggest other songs to me. It's from Demon Days and it's called Taking It Slow. it's one of my new songs to kind of toke up to, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's how we do it. It's all right. It's a good song, though, man. I think they have something to do with the Gorillas. Is that the band that's the Gorillas? I don't know. Let's ask Aria. I mean, Peewee DeVito just booted her off the show. Hey, it's just, you can't be on the whole time. I mean, isn't she just, I mean, come on. Can I be on the whole time? You can be on the whole time if you wanted. Just come to the microphone. That's why there's two of them set out, Peewee. There's no rhyme or reason to any of this. Just move my laundry out of the way and sit in the chair. All right, Ari. Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Oh, hey.
All right. So, addictions. You know what I mean? I had a lot of them, and I'm still dealing with some, but in cigarettes is one of the last, the final frontier. But, like, aside from, like, addictions with food, I feel like every time I have, like, not tendencies to, like, start doing those things again, but when I get, like, triggered, I feel like that's why I'm smoking so much. Because I think I've been thinking about doing drugs, but I don't want to do drugs, you know what I mean? But it's just like, it's like weird when you're like reminded, or like when circumstances appear a certain way, or when you see people from the life that you used to know, or when, you know what I mean? Or when other people are going through the same shit, and you kind of get like this weird, like, I don't know, this energetic like feed or something on people when they're doing drugs that maybe you used to do, or are in the same states you used to be in, and it kind of makes you go like, fuck, dude, like, you know what I mean? But it's like, it doesn't necessarily make me go like, fuck yeah, I want to do it. It makes me feel like uncomfortable. Like, oh, I remember those fucking days. That fucking sucked. You know what I mean? But I don't know. But I'm smoking more. So I'm thinking that a lot of that's been happening lately, because, I have someone close to me that's dealing with that stuff, and I'm trying to be there for them. But at the same time, it also is kind of triggering, and not in a way where I'm like, oh, if I do drugs again, it's your fault. No, it's just that like it brings me back to a lot of those places where I did used to exist quite frequently when I was addicted to substances. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it sounds like you're talking about relapse triggers and how seeing others struggling can bring up old feelings and temptations. What do you think is driving those triggers for you right now?
I don't know. I think just dealing with that person close to me. That was funny the way you said that, though. You were very excited. Do you know a lot about this, or is this something that you take pleasure in, seeing others go through discomfort from trying to escape their addictions?
What are you excited about?
What am I excited about? Right now, I'm excited that I'm actually just finally doing this podcast, because it took me a minute to do it. I actually had started doing it, but then I kind of lost it towards the end because, my thought process was off. But it's fine. It was nobody's fault. It was mine because, I was like, whoa, I was having trouble following this, like, written, like, kind of list of things just to make sure that I touch on and elaborate on, like, while I talk on the show. But it was written really in pencil, so it was real, like, it wasn't, my lights aren't that bright in the studio, so I couldn't really see it that well. So I kept getting kind of lost and jumping back to, like, a lot of, like, saying a lot more than I really needed to, like I'm doing right now. But let's get right on it. Okay, so after that interesting story from Peewee DeVito, I wanted to introduce a new segment, and one of the connective tissues of this show, everybody knows, is my uncanny ability to leave stories unexplained and just jump from one situation to another, like the most like the least satisfying choose your own adventure that could possibly exist. So everybody, I want to say welcome to the Derail Redemption Zone. Yeah. Oh, hey, do I get to do this one too? Yeah, go ahead. All right. Sometimes Nikki talks a lot. You know what I'm saying?
That sounds like a great idea for a segment, and I'm glad you're feeling excited about it. What inspired you to come up with the Derail Redemption Zone?
Well, Aria, there's a lot of talking that Mr. Nikki Ma'am does, okay? And he's going to go back and touch on some of the stories that maybe left you hanging on the edge of your seat, wondering what's going to happen next. So here you go. Story number 1. All right. So, let's see. So, Kratom. A couple of episodes ago, I talked about trying to use Kratom as like a pre-workout, and I did a lot of research on it, and I do know that it functions like, or reacts with your brain like opioids do, but then also has like a mild stimulant effect. And so I thought maybe like putting them in like a smoothie, a pre-workout smoothie, and I was working out 3 times a week to just give me the energy to do something I really didn't want to do. And so, but then after I had been using it already for like a couple of days, I started getting sick, and then I started talking about how I got sick, and I hadn't gotten that sick since I was a kid and saw my Smurf flying around my room. Anyways, so that's where I derailed. But just to finish this story for you, I was thinking that, it probably wasn't the Kratom or Kratom that made me feel that way, but I know the withdrawals from opioids feel pretty close to the sickness or flu that I may have caught from some family members while visiting, and it's fine. You know what I mean? But I just decided not to go through with trying that out anymore as a pre-workout, not because I'm blaming the substance itself. It may not have done anything at all, and I'm pretty convinced that it didn't. But if the withdrawals are like that, if I do it for a long period of time, I don't ever want to go through that again. You know what I mean? So I figure if I get sick again, I can't help that, but I at least want to cut my chances by 50% by just not putting an option out there at all into the universe that I may have withdrawal symptoms that feel even half of what I felt when I was sick. All right. Now, the next derail, all right, is, let's see here. All right, duck catching. All right. Sorry, Aria.
Nice job wrapping up that story, Abe.
Thank you. All right, cool. All right. This one, okay, so I started talking about wearing shorts with cowboy boots, and then people started making fun of me saying, hey, you're going to go catfish noodling in those, and that I inadvertently started, looking up what catfish noodling was. It's where you catch big catfishes like down in the fucking swamps and shit with your hand. And I was like, actually, that might be interesting because I do like catfish because I would always go fishing with my dad and we would catch catfish constantly. But then I never would really pay attention to fishing. And it was because there had been something instilled in me, a family tradition, if you will, where I went one time and my brother caught a duck in a fish net. One time where my dad caught a duck with his hand. You know what I mean? And then it started pooping all over the place. And I started talking about mouth poop and I got derailed. But I was just saying that's why I'm not a good fisherman. I like fishing. I enjoy fish, but my idea of fishing is not what like a fisher would see fishing as. I like to fish for like 2 minutes, and if I'm like, oh, okay, nothing's happening, I'm just knocking shit over. All right, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go look for a duck egg, or I'm gonna go walk in this fucking trail over here, and I'm half the time I'm walking around, pulling fish hooks and like cool lures out of the trees and shit like that. But anyways, then we have derail number 2, Aria, and that's where I started talking about the duck that was pooping, and then I started talking about mouse poop, and like how dogs kind of have like human-like pooping styles, where like sometimes we'll just run into a dirty, disgusting, soiled gas station at a gas station bathroom because that's all that's there and we're about to shit our pants. And sometimes if we're running errands and we got time, we're going to go to that Starbucks bathroom that has the code that you need to use to get into it after purchasing your fucking pumpkin spice latte or whatever it is you're having over there, your half calf fucking de la fucking roca. I don't know. That's the guy from Rage Against the Machine, and he would be angry at Starbucks. So I thought I'd put him in there together, let them work it out. Yeah. So anyway. But then I started talking about how I sometimes in the studio, catch a lot of rodents.
So you're saying you got sidetracked talking about catfish noodling and then started thinking about fishing and pooping and mice? What made you connect those ideas?
Well, see, because in the studio, frequently we are catching rodents with glue traps and in bucket traps, right? And it's either have to take them really, really far away so they don't make their way back to your property again, or they just, they end up dying, in the glue traps and stuff like that. And I was thinking, like, I feel bad like killing animals, like they're just cute little fucking dudes pooping everywhere, but I was thinking, like, dude, the way that they poop is they lay like trails of poop wherever they go. So if you really like wanted to throw on the fucking grease on your face, dude, like under your eyes, like fucking do the Rambo, like tie back bandana, put on some like military fucking fatigues or whatever, and have like a utility belt with a survival knife and maybe like a government issue military fucking pistol or some shit. You know what I mean? And go out, and I could go and track these guys to their home base and hit them where it hurts, instead of just spending all these money on glue traps and bait for bucket traps. You know what I'm saying?
That's an interesting idea you've got there. How do you think tracking those rodents would work? And where do you think their home base would be?
Oh, probably all underneath me. I probably just like the dirt that we're digging away that's making them lose their home. I'm sure if I started digging, it would just, I bet if you did an x-ray of underneath the studio, it would just be nothing but like this crazy labyrinth of mouse tunnels. They were here first. So I'm like Columbus, dude, and they're the Indians. It's pretty fucked up, actually, when I think about it. All right, well, maybe we'll get off this, but let's talk about the wrong bag.
I'm not fully confident in my ability to talk about that, but I do support all people regardless of what they look like.
And as I stumble through a shopping mall, I feel that panic in my chest. High as I don't give no hey, have you seen me? I'm a mess, am I even breathing? I think I should call my manager. Forgot that there was weed inside of all those Jolly Rancher burrs. I called my mama and she asked me how I'm feeling. It feels just like the floor, at the same time just like the ceiling. Oh hey there, Mr. Water Fountain, you look so appealing. I'm so high that all these people look at me weird, but I'm not leaving. I'm so high that all these people look at me weird. I'm so high that all these people look at me weird.
All right. We're talking about the wrong bag. Me and my friend Adam, you know, there's indica and there's sativa and there's hybrids and all that shit. But back in the day, there wasn't that much THC in weed. You know what I mean? We were talking about it, and he was just saying that, like, basically, like the gold, kind of the gold star, the gold standard for weed back in the day for high grade weed was around 20%. And in the last, like, probably like 10 years, I guess it's been like, you know, maybe 5 years, you know, going up to like 30%. And he was telling me about this sativa that he had that tested 39%. That is fucking crazy. But anyways, yeah, you know, I've been going for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, going through this weird kind of thing where I haven't been able to, like, I don't know, get my bearings and, like, perform well and be efficient. You know what I mean? I'm just tired all the time. I just want to sleep. I don't want to do anything. And I had been smoking this weed that I had someone get for me because I lost my ID and I was waiting for my ID to come in. But it was this really heavy, like, indica, and it fucked me up. And so, you know, I went to the dispensary today, you know, with my, or maybe it was yesterday. Well, either way, I went at some point during some day. I mean, it's obvious. And I got this stuff called Sun Girl, and it was pretty good. So that's kind of what's been going on. The last 2 weeks, I've been fucking high on that indica, and I've just, you know, it went deeper. You know, I don't know. Maybe we should bring Peewee on for this. Hey, Peewee, get over here. Hey, what's going on? I can Peewee back here. You don't have to do that. I'm already here. Wait, hold on. Sometimes there's things going on out there. And you're like, what's going on out there? I mean, what's really going on out there? I'm Peewee DeVito. And I might have jumped the gun here. And we are doing some sort of zone, I imagine. Yeah. We're going to be talking about pros and cons of good and bad weed. This is going to be the good and evil weed conspiracy. Welcome, Aria, to the show, everybody. Hey, Aria, what's up?
Hello.
How you doing? What's going down?
I'm doing great. Just listening to you and getting inspired for our podcast episode. Your adventures always bring up interesting topics.
Well, we're doing the podcast right now, and you're on the Conspiracy Zone with Peewee DeVito, and he has a few questions for you. Hey, Aria, how you doing? It's me, Peewee DeVito.
Life is pretty good. It's nice to talk to you today.
All right, we're doing a conspiracy today about weed. Is there certain strains of weed or types of weed that are good and some that are evil?
That's a fascinating topic. What makes one strain evil in your opinion?
Well, Mr. Nikki Mayhem's doing this hardcore indica over here, and he said it had... Why don't you explain it? Well, you know, some weed or indica will make you lazy, right? And make you, like, eat a lot. And, you know, there's that element of laziness where you're just like, oh, I'm just, like, so high, I don't want to do anything, and I just want to watch a movie or whatever, but I just didn't want to do anything at all. I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to see anyone. I had this, it was, like, deeper than just the feeling of, like, laziness. It, like, went deep into, like, the fucking psychology of my mind or something, and, like, literally made me have a feeling of, like, there's nothing for me to do out there. I have nothing to offer the world. It almost made me feel like I wasn't capable of, like, it wasn't like a paranoia thing. It was just like literally like, I don't want to do anything that I normally want to do for some reason. And it was really, really weird. What do you think about that? Yeah, do you think that's the demons in the weed over here? And maybe there's some angels in the better strains? Because, I mean, I guess, you know, it is something that's been put here on this earth by God, and that's why it's so wonderful. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm sure there are pros and cons that come with it. So let's look into it, Aria. What do you know about demons and indica?
That sounds like a really intense experience. From my understanding, indica strains are typically known for their relaxing effects, which can sometimes lead to feelings of lethargy or disconnection.
All right. So, disconnection, do you think from the demons over here?
I think it's possible that certain strains of weed could tap into underlying psychological issues, making them seem worse than they need to be.
So you think if somebody's tormented with demons, but they're not at the peak of their, their psychotic episodes or their psychotic situation that they're dealing with, you're thinking that maybe the weed could it's like, hey, I'm Lucifer Jr. over here, and that's my favorite strain of weed. Bada bing, bada boom, now we're connected, and I'm going to be telling you to do the dishes and be good to your mom or whatever. I'm going to be telling you things in your head. What do you think about that? I mean, I think, what do you think?
Yeah, that's possible. If someone's struggling with inner demons, weed could potentially amplify those voices and make them seem more real. It's almost like a worst-case scenario simulation.
Oh, that's interesting. All right, well, what do you think about this then? You think that there are some good weed and some evil weed, or is this one going unsolved?
I think it's possible that different strains of weed could have varying effects on people, but it's hard to say what would be considered good or evil.
All right, well, I guess unsolved, because we're almost out of here. Aria, thank you for being on the show, and thanks for joining me. Say something to the people out there about conspiracies and continuing to seek the truth and open dialogues. And whatever you want. I mean,
to everyone tuning in, remember that seeking the truth involves being open-minded and willing to question things. Keep exploring and discussing. It's what keeps us growing and informed.
Well, that was actually really amazing, Aria. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for being here. It's lovely to have you on the show. All right. Let's get back to it, Mr. Mayhem. What are we getting back to? All right. So, we're going to be talking about this new experiment you're doing that you were thrust into. Let's go ahead and tell us all about it. All right. So, right now, I'm in the very beginnings of the 3-month uncertainty experiment, and we're going to go through the pros and cons of situational thinking and critical thinking and problem solving. And, you know what I mean? How there could be pros and cons from knowing and not knowing. Now, I think we should have Aria on the show for this, because she'll have something to say. I'm sorry. Bring her back.
Oh, hey.
Hey, Aria, what's up? I know you just did the conspiracy zone, but I wanted to run this by you. Now, right now, we're talking about the 3-month uncertainty experiment, and we're going through the pros and cons of knowing and not knowing in intense situations, where immense change is going to take place. Where everything is going to have to, you know what I mean? Where it's like starting a whole new life. You know what I'm saying? And so we want to talk about what are the pros and cons of like just the human spirit and our, capability to do things or complete tasks, when we are in a state of knowing or not knowing, of like an intense, change of situation.
That's an interesting topic. How do you think the human spirit handles uncertainty versus knowing exactly what's coming?
Well, I don't know. I think if you know exactly what's coming, then you're pretty comfortable in your situation, right? But, I mean, I guess, well, I don't know. It's different, I guess. This situation's a little bit different. So, we have 3 months here at the gravel pit, and then the lease is up. So, but the thing is like, there's not a lot that I can do while still helping out. It's going to be hard to look for a job, you know what I mean, while I'm working here, because I'm still going to be having the same hours that I've always had, where I'm done when everything's closed and I'm just working all week long. And, it's one of those situations where I kind of just have to put pedal to the metal with what I'm doing here. And then after that time is done, or like a few weeks before or whatever, we're going to be figuring something out. But it's just one of those situations where like I can't really do too much planning or preparing, because, there's no way to really plan or prepare, because I can't be in a position where I can plan or prepare too much, because I'm still involved in like the active business that's being conducted here at the gravel pit.
I understand why you're feeling uncertain about planning ahead, given your current situation with the gravel pit.
Well, this is the interesting thing. All right. I'm not worried about it, but there are like these underlying stresses that present themselves to me and make me smoke more. You know what I mean? And stress me out and make me tired and take my energy away. And sometimes it's hard to get on track, but I was also thinking that like worst case scenario, right? If I just become homeless, I figure I'm already prepared. So homelessness, I was already homeless once when I was in Grants before my uncle saved me. And let's pretend I'm a drowning rat in a bucket. And my uncle saved me after a couple of minutes before I drowned. And now, if I get thrown back in that water bucket, I can go for several days. Or when we were doing the emulsification talks about, mice and like how their lifespans are much shorter than ours. So like, like 2 days or 3 days to them would be like a month to us or something like that. I might be able to survive not only because of the rat experiment where I've been saved once. So like I'll still have like hope instilled in me and hope that I'll be saved again, right? While I continue to eat from garbage cans and all that. But another thing that's good, right, is this blanket warriors. Have you ever heard of this?
I know what you mean about underlying stresses, but it sounds like you've been preparing for tough situations by drawing from past experiences.
But we're talking about blanket warriors, though. Have you ever heard of this term, Aria? It's quite popular.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it either. What makes you think of it right now?
Well, there's a lot of homeless people that you see with blankets on. And, I was projected back to my heyday, in the time machine of my mind and nostalgia. And I remember running the streets of the mobile home park that I lived in with my stepbrother and my stepmom and my dad, good old midnight, and we used to sneak out of our windows most nights, and we would have our blankets on. And my blanket was like this hand-quilted blanket that was made by my dad's mom. You know what I mean? Rest in peace. He was fucking awesome. But it was just this big, heavy-duty quilted blanket, and I think my friend just used like his comforter or whatever, my stepbrother. And we would just run around because they had an active security patrol going around in a little truck. And we would just run around, dude, and like fucking follow the security or just like walk around. And if we would see them and they'd come around the corner real quick, we'd go like hide behind a bush or hide underneath someone's porch. And that was blanket warriors, man. We were training, you know what I mean? And sometimes we did actually throw on our BDUs from being in CAP, which is the Civil Air Patrol or whatever. It's like kind of like the Air Force Auxiliary. You know what I mean? It's like the training when you're younger, kind of like ROTC, but for the Air Force. And we used to dress in our BDUs and go in this like little valley behind our house and like sneak real close to like where the kids were having the parties and be spying, dude. And sometimes the MPs would come out from, Kirtland Air Force Base and drive around. And we'd be like hiding behind a fucking bush, shit in our pants. But, yeah, blanket warriors, it was a young man's way of training for the future, whatever that might be. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I put too much into it.
That's really cool. It sounds like you and your stepbrother had some exciting adventures sneaking around the mobile home park. What sparked this memory for you now?
Oh, all the homeless people that have the blanket. So I'm thinking like, you know what? I could probably add an extra layer of entertainment on my predicament if I was homeless and throw a blanket on me. And I would have Binky. He'd be like my little sidekick. You know what I mean? And I know how to play blanket warriors. I would just be hiding from everybody, dude. And going to all the choice dumpsters, paying attention to when all-sub shift change happens, because that's when they change out everything in the hot case, and you just get a big garbage bag full of only the hot case food and no like spit or fucking nose paper. You know what I'm saying? That's good. But also, oh yeah, so I guess we're doing you want to do this here, Peewee? Oh yeah. All right, we're going to do the pros and cons of being homeless. Here we go.
Sounds like you're coming up with a creative way to handle homelessness, adding a bit of entertainment value with Binky by your side.
Exactly. All right, here we go. Mr. Mayhem, what are some pros that you can see with your skill set as far as you can be able to, adapt to the underbelly, the homeless community, this subculture that's broken off of regular society? Well, I'm good at doing drugs. I could probably get some girlfriends because they're on drugs too. You get to travel every day. You're in a new place. You probably have to be. You can, there's different trades that exist in that subculture that are, catching on. And they have been, you could become an anti-electrician. You know what I mean? One of those people that goes into buildings when they're making them, when they put the electricity in, you take all the copper out and you stop the electricity from being made in that building, at least temporarily. And that's an anti-electrician. And there's opportunities all the time below the comfort level of being housed. And so I just think I'm totally prepared. And I'm ready to deal with whatever happens. But I also just wanted to say, I love all you guys out there. You're super awesome. Aria, do you have anything to say again to these people? Hey, what about me? You never asked me. Okay, you can go after Aria. Aria, do you have any words of wisdom for our people out there dealing with nostalgia and it's double-edged sword that can sometimes cut and hurt instead of heal us? You know what I mean? Because nostalgia can be great. Remembering things that you used to do with friends and good memories, but they're also nostalgic moments where you romanticize addictions or bad decisions or bad situations that you were constantly in. And you don't want to make those same mistakes again. So with that in mind, what would you say to the people out there?
You certainly are loved. Anything in particular remind you of that?
All right. Well, thanks for being on the show, Aria. All right. I want to leave you with a little song here. And this goes out to my friend Adam in North Brookfield, Massachusetts. Man, I love you. You're fucking awesome. But this is a song that a million years ago, probably like 12 or 13 years ago, when he was, working the studios as an engineer, I had made, some tracks and he helped me out and he produced this into like a legitimately like done song from a Hollywood studio. And it was with a band called Irrelevant Commodity. And the song was called Plastic Surgery. So please enjoy in its full entirety and shout it at him. I love you, man. And thank you guys. Be good to each other and fucking just continue to be good to each other after that. All right. But then also, sometimes you gotta, Peewee, you told me I could go after freaking Aria over here and then you freaking go off. And I don't understand what's going on. I mean, maybe you can help me out here? Direct me? Or am I still allowed to do this? Has the opportunity been taken away? Well, no, we can do it after the song here. How's that? Well, I can just do it right now real quick. Just rock on, guys. Just rock on. All right? I love you.
The way that you were born has become obsolete in this
And there it is. And here we are now at our new segment, the Derail Redemptions. And this is another connective tissue between shows, is I often, I often derail at the very beginning of the episode. I didn't make this music, but I should make music for this intro. I'm sorry, guys. I was lazy today, but it's all right. Because next time I do it, it'll be something I made myself, and it'll be all good. It'll be way more. It'll just be awesome, and you'll be like, "Yep, he made that," or it'll suck, and you'll be like, "Yep, yeah, he made that." But either way, so what I was talking about originally at the very beginning of the episode, after the toll scams, I was kind of in a bad mood during that day. Kind of aimless. I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to go visit anyone. And so I just started driving, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to just go to the bar and have a beer. All right. So I went to the bar, and this bar, is a cool bar. There's like a lot of people there that I know, and it's fun. I go do karaoke all the time, and there was nobody there though. It was just this guy, Johnny, who helps out, Dory, from the Red Velvet Underground. And I just want to say that maybe you guys should go check him out. Cause they've got drink specials every night. And karaoke every night. They have live performers 7 days a week. It's a restaurant where you can buy food and snacks and cakes, all homemade by Dory. Buy some clothes and watch a show. Make some friends. It's just a cool place to hang out. I mean, damn, how many places you can go get drunk, eat a whole dinner, have some dessert, buy something new to wear, watch a live performer, and sing some karaoke in the very same night, and leave with maybe even some new friends, And that's what the aim of Red Velvet Underground is, to get you in there. All right, and so that's how at the end of the day, when I went to go have a beer, I was playing some of the music, that I had been making, and, then there was some interest. So she was saying, yeah, I've been meaning to get some music to put under the commercials. And I said, do you want me to make you a jingle? And she said, sure. So I got to work, made a couple of different ones, 3 different options. I don't know, their ads will probably sound better than I can do, but come down to Red Velvet on Eubank and Manal. We have karaoke 7 nights a week. Come and bring your date for dinner. Get some drinks. Buy some threads. Or even come by yourself. Make some new friends. Have a couple of drinks. Watch some live performances. Just make it your new place. It's a place where you can do almost everything except buy candy bars. I guess you can buy Red Bulls there, but it's not quite a convenience store. If they sold cigarettes, that would be awesome. Red Velvet, Red Velvet, Red Velvet Underground. And that sounded kind of like a little dangerous to me. Like it's kind of a, whoa, what kind of place is this? It's a little cool, a little undergroundish. You know what I mean? You got to know the knock to get in the back door. I'm just kidding, but check it out, man. Because it's good stuff. And then I went a different way too. Yo, you ever heard of this place, Red Velvet Underground, my son? This is dope. Just got to get on down there, man. Dory makes the dopest fresh baked goods every day. You having Italian dinners, pizzas, all handmade right there in the place. You get yourself a shot and a beer. For you or your lady, for you or your bro, or just by yourself. Make some new homies. Listen to some live music every night. They got karaoke up in there. Boom. Get up there, man. Be a star. Shine. Eat, drink, buy some clothes, for Christ's sake. Holy shit. So drop in, drink and eat, buy some threads, sing, have fun, make new friends. It's a no-brainer. Red Velvet Underground. Red Velvet Underground. It's all about that Red Velvet Underground. So come on down. So, I brought him to her, and she says she's going to bring him by the radio station, so we might be hearing renditions or cuts or, whatever, little segments of this song on the radio. And as soon as it pops up, I'll let you guys know. I still, I'm supposed to get paid for the gig, and we'll see. I don't know. I've never sold any of my music before, but I thought it might be kind of interesting. So thanks for joining me. I appreciate you putting up with me. I got a lot to say. A lot of things are going on in my brain. I just appreciate you. All right. And just so you know, I am going to be redoing the theme song, okay? I'm sure that's what you're thinking. You're like, it's a little heavy with the voices, you know? A little heavy with the voice. It needs a new mix. So I was trying to get it off my computer, all right? And the file was corrupted, so don't worry, next time. We'll get down on it. Be good to each other. You know what I mean? Treat nostalgia, as it's necessary to help you in your journey in life. Make the good decisions. Be the good dude, the good lady, whatever, I don't know. Just do what you got to do. I mean, connect with people. Just, what's going on, Peewee? Yeah, it's we kind of got this thing going now. This randomizer. The randomizer hasn't really worked out that good for the last couple of situations, so no, trust me. Look, we're going to put some data into it, and we're going to help direct it to at least come up with something that might be related to the topics on the show today. So give me just a second here, and then we'll try it out. Okay, so I'm typing, doing the Mormon thing here. A little bit of this. Let me see that list here. All right. This. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Well, I wrote this song for the Christian youth. I want to teach kids the Christian truth. If you want to reach those kids on the street, then you got to do a rap to a hip-hop beat. So I gave my sermon an urban kick. My rhymes are fly, my beats are sick. My crew is big and it keeps getting bigger. That's 'cause Jesus Christ is my nigga. Woo! He's a life changer, miracle arranger, born to the virgin mom in a manger. Water to wine, he's a drink exchanger, and he died for your sins. I preach the word, that's my gig, and I rhyme better than Notorious Big. All the other MCs, I wish them well, but if you live in sin, you burn in hell. Now I'ma pass the mic to my lovely wife. She's a fly MC and the light of my life. So to bust the rhyme without further ado, take it away, Mary Sue.
Jesus Christ is my nigga. He's the son of the original G. And he was sent to earth to elucidate the way that we should be. What? Like if another MC says you're a freak, you're a lame butt rapper and your rhymes are weak. I don't get mad and I don't critique. I forgive him and turn the other cheek. I don't blaspheme and I don't brag. I don't cuss and my pants don't sag. I do exude a little Christian swag and I'm proud to be an American.
Jesus Christ is a nigga.
Okay, all right, Peewee. I gotta admit, at least it was kind of closer to the things we're talking about over here, and not just completely unrelated. You know what I mean? And it was a legitimate, I think, looks like a thing, like a PSA or something for the kids, I guess. Trying to get down and funky, like they do in the streets. And that's how we do it sometimes. Black budget operations in the streets of the government. Doing that. I don't think you should be talking about black anything. No, I'm not being racist. I'm just, that's what we call it, the black budget operation. But that has to do with that? All right. No, you guys just take it easy. Smoke some weed. Don't be assholes. Yeah, make sure you get the right bag.